I didn't post last week, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't reading. I do need to get more consistent with what I read because I do document my weekly reading this way. I'm Quinn Moon. I write queer fairy tales, and this is the Quinn Report, which I think is kind of clever and catchy, so I'm very proud of that. Last week, I was able to finish 2 books. Now, one of them was a carryover for about 3 weeks, but that is not the point. I did finish The Ugly Renaissance by Alexandra Lee last week. It was really dense, and towards the end, it was really informative. It was just so informative. I really enjoyed it. I realized that the reason I was struggling to complete it is because the applications of this book had kind of run their course at about the 3/4 marker, and so the last quarter, while very informative and important and relevant, wasn't exactly relevant to my purposes and applications, which was for my fairy tales. So that's why it was a bit of a trudge. Not because the book was actually really well written, very entertaining, and although it was extremely dense and clearly very well researched, it never felt tedious, trudgy. It was actually very well paced. So I did enjoy it, but my applications kind of ran out and I was running out of gas at the end. That's a me problem, not the book. Last week, I also finished Solo Viola by Antoine Volodine. I picked this up as part of a local book club, and I'm very interested to hear everyone else's perspectives. Obviously, this is commentary on fascism, on oppression, on the silencing of the people and the manipulation and corruption of system. So very heavy stuff. And I'm really interested to see the kind of discussion and questions that we have. I'm not gonna say it was light because that's making light a very difficult subject. It was a very quick read because of how well paced it was. And even though it was an abstract allegory, I still followed it along and was able to connect with all of the characters. So I really did enjoy this. Last week, I also started A Brief History of Earth, 4 Billion Years and 8 Chapters by Andrew H. Knoll. This book is in progress, all of 46 pages in, and I have written so many notes. Because of how simple, I will also be reading Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. This book, and I anticipate this book, are going to be very short, simple books, but because of the simplicity and the way that they tackle really complex subjects, there's a lot of space for me to take notes. These are also applications for my fairy tales, and I find that books that simplify a very complex subject for me give me the most creative freedom to fill in the blanks with magic, with lore, with world building. So while these books are quite short, the amount of notes that I'm taking are vast. I already have applications for 3 books, just 46 pages into A Brief History of Earth. And I anticipate that these 2 books are going to help set the tone, not only for the entire fairy tale universe I'm writing, but for the magic systems that I use in multiple universes that I'm writing. So these 2 little books that I will get through this week, hopefully, are going to be very important for Quinn's fairy tales. Stay tuned. So this is what I'll be reading this week. What will you be reading this week?